Hi everybody, so in today's video what I am going to attempt to try and do, and emphasise the word attempt, is replace the drive belt on this Boxster 987. The drive belt that I have picked is Continental, well-known brand, specialise in rubber tyres and many other car parts. It only cost me about £20 or something from Amazon. Came through the other day. Looking forward to seeing if I can get this on. It's meant to be one of the easier things that you can replace on the Boxster, but if you checked out my other videos, easier doesn't necessarily always mean possible, given the disaster that happened with the air filter. Now, again, in one of my other posts I did show how to get to the drive belt, and have already inspected the one that's fitted. There's no real problem with the one that's been fitted. There's no cracks or signs of wear, but because I couldn't see anything in the service history showing when it had last been done, I thought the best thing to do would be to not leave it to chance and get it replaced. Now then, I've got the replacement belt up there. What I've also brought with me is my torch, because it's always dark down here when I take these videos. There's the magnetic pickup tool and tray there. Penetrant you don't need, that's just sat there from one of my other videos. Got my toolkit handy, because there's some torque spots that need to be removed, and pen and paper, so I can create a little diagram to make sure when I'm replacing the belt I know where it's actually supposed to go and the path it's meant to take. Alright, now if I open her up, what needs to be removed here is the front engine compartment that sits behind these two seats, and also, if you have it, you'll need to remove the Bose head unit that sits behind here as well, rather sits on top of that. Mine's already been removed from my previous attempt at trying to get to the air filter, and there the rear engine covers are sat on the passenger seat, so I'm going to get them out of the way, move the seats forward, and then take off the carpeted front engine cover so I can show you the bolts that need to be removed. Alright, with the seats moved forward, and again once that Bose head unit is out of the way, there's these four sort of plastic plugs here. I don't really know what you'd want to call them, screw covers. 1, 2, 3, 4 that run along the top here, and you want to get these out of the way. Quite easy to do, although if you find if the cover hasn't been removed in a while, they might be sort of stuck in place. Just use your finger and thumb and maybe a rubber band to get a bit of extra grip. And you just need to screw it on anti-clockwise till it comes off. Store them in your pocket or something like that. Repeat the process along all four. Then you lift up the carpet to take it out of, take the screw out of the hole, and just gently pull along these corners here as well to get the carpet out of the way. Again, I can't do this one-handed as I've done in my other videos, so I'm just going to pause there, remove the plastic covers, take the carpet off, and then get to the metal engine cover. Okay, those plastic covers are off. I've just lifted this up, you can see quite easily pulls out, pulls forward, and find somewhere to put this. Probably pop it on top of the roof for now. No risk of it causing any damage. It's not heavy enough to damage the roof either. Happy with that. Right, here we are. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, get in the car, 5, 6, 7 bolts here that need to be removed, and these two as well. So I'm going to take all of them off, and that'll take the engine cover off, give us a view of the belt and the pulleys. These are really easy to take off. The first time I did it, what I found, as other people found as well, is because it had been a while since the cover had come off, there's a piece of foam like a foam gasket almost that runs all the way along the length of this cover, and that had just become a little bit sticky, and so I had to prise it off gently so as to not break the foam that's running around it. But yeah, it should come off quite easily for you. So next step, I'm going to remove all of those bolts. Right, bolts are off now, so I'm going to pull this forward, checking there's nothing I missed. Off that comes. Just put this out of the way for now. And there we have it. So I showed my previous pictures and video to the Porsche specialist yesterday. He said this is nothing to worry about, again it's quite rusty, but one thing that will need to be checked is sometimes this tensioner here, which is the one that I need to push on to loosen the belt off of the tensioners and the pulleys, can sometimes, what's the right word, not really give way properly, and you might need to put a spanner behind it to keep it in place whilst you apply torque to it and move it out of the way to loosen the tension. So if that happens and I do run into a bit of bother, I'm going to leave this job to the specialist just because of what might end up going wrong. I don't want to damage what is otherwise a belt that has no problems to it. So what I'm going to do now is quick check down here on the water pump below. No signs of leak, which is really good. Yeah, what I'm going to do now is make a little diagram of where the belt is going, the path that it's taking, and I've read somewhere as well that the belt actually has a direct. Oh, there we are. You can see it says Bosch on there. Yeah, apparently what you're meant to do, the belt actually has the belt has a direction that you're meant to follow. So you're meant to be able to read the brand and the print on the belt as you look at it, and someone's clearly done that correctly. So yeah, I'm gonna make the diagram, see if I can move this tensioner pulley first. If I can, I'll know that it's possible to do the replacement, take it off and then put the new one back on. Again, unfortunately, because I'm doing all this one-handed, I don't think I'll be able to record it all, but I'll try and record as much as I can. There's my noddy diagram of the path that the belt seems to be taking. So I've just written 24mm on there. That's the size of this nut on the tensioner pulley. And if I follow the direction of travel for the belt, it goes around this tensioner, across to the other one. That's the water pump down there. Runs underneath the water pump, back up and over, and all the way around like that. So what I've been advised is to start here, release the tension. Once the belt's off, the new one, to start at the bottom here at the water pump, because it's the hardest one to access. Make sure it's sat in the rib properly, and I believe this one down here is the crankshaft one. I'll double check that though. And then once the new belt's on, to turn the crankshaft, just make sure that the belt is moving nicely all the way around. So first step, try this out with a 24mm bit and see if it gives. Okay, so it took a bit of power and a few attempts actually at releasing this tensioner, but you've kind of got to turn it clockwise and push in that direction quite hard to release the tension on the belt, and I think it's maybe just because it hasn't been done in a while. Again, the condition of the belt looks pretty good, so the belt is now loose. Fingers crossed I can get the new one back on, and I'm going to start by going with the water pump down there, just because it's the hardest to get to. What I'm also doing as I'm going along is just moving the pulleys and the tensioners, making sure that there's no play in them and there's no play in the water pump, which there isn't. Again, really good sign, happy with that. I'm going to grab the new belt now and see if I can get it on here. Well folks, I am not going to lie, I am a bit of a sweaty mess after doing that. I mean, yeah, definitely you need to start at the bottom at the water pulley, and what I found was you've got to be really quite exact with, sorry, my hands are shaking a little bit, a bit out of breath, but yeah, be exact with how the belt goes around that water pulley, because the side that's nearest to me right now is in the right hand side of that pulley, will dictate how much, I suppose, length or give there is in the rest of the belt for the two tensioner pulleys on the bottom right of the screen right now. Yeah, so make sure it's around it properly. Everything else went on quite easy, but yeah, then the last part was applying enough torque to get the tensioner to move, slip the belt on with the other hand, and then make sure I didn't let go of the tensioner at the wrong time and damage the belt as it was going on the tensioners. All seems to be fine. I've done a visual check a few times, run my finger the full length along the belt, make sure it's sat in all the tongue and groove ribs properly, and made sure there's enough space on either side of the tensioner pulleys as well. The belt's not going to slip off or it's hanging on the edge. So, by my reckonings, I think that is job done. Obviously the proof is in the pudding. If the whole thing goes bang, then I will obviously be very upset with myself, and more upset with all it's going to put in my bank account. But pretty confident that that's worked. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, but yeah, with a bit of practice, if I'd done it a few times, I'm sure I could have got there quicker. Gonna crank the engine and see if everything's fine. Fingers crossed. Right, seems to be running okay. Just going to do one last check, and actually, if I haven't put it on the caption already, it wasn't on properly. It hadn't gone round the crankshaft. It's always good to come from the other side and check, because you can see a different perspective. And when I came to the left side, driver's side of the car, sorry, the right side, the driver's side of the car, I could see that the belt wasn't on properly. So I had to take it off around the water pump and the crankshaft and do it again. As you can see, it seems to be running fine. Doesn't look like there's any slack in the belt. Didn't make any squeaking noises on startup either. So I'm going to cross that off my list as job done. Just look at these tensioner pulleys here. It's quite close to the edge, so I'm just going to sort that out actually. Shouldn't be quite on the edge for that left tensioner pulley. Alright, so readjusted the belt. Again, just loosen the tensioner, push the belt a bit further back on it. Should be alright now. Here's the old belt. I think it looked fine, to be honest. But as I said, because there was no evidence of when it had last been replaced, went ahead and did it anyway. So that's all done. That's how to replace the drive belt. And I think it's just a case of putting it all back together now. So metal engine cover back on, put the 6 bolts on around the outside, 2 in the middle, put the carpet cover back on, and now, because I'm done with everything, I'm going to put the Bose head unit back on and the rear engine cover as well. So I'll just get the roof up after I've put this front cover on, and that's the job done. Thanks for watching.